Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us for this edition of HR Mentorship Learning Series. My name is Oluyemi Adeosun, and tonight, yet again, we are privileged to have the pleasure of having Gino Blessing facilitate for us. I tremendously enjoyed our last session. I was so glad and happy she could come again in quick succession. This evening, she will be sharing with us on the topic, the rise of the hustle culture, productivity, or burnout. I'm excited to say we are in for a great time. Please let's pay attention and let's ensure we glean insight and also contribute on the chat box and ask questions at the end of the session and share experiences. Just before I read our profile, please do well to share the flyer for this event on your various social media platforms and other networks so that many people can take advantage of this evening session. If you're also watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, Oluyemi Adeosun, like and share with other HR professionals. We will be looking at the topic, the rise of hustle culture, productivity, or burnout. Our facilitator is Blessing Jinodu. Our profile. Blessing is a seasoned HR professional, passionate about creating people-first workplaces. She's a graduate of the First and the Best, University of Ibadan. She read biology education. Her journey into HR began immediately after university when she joined AG Dagote Construction Company as an HR assistant. Through dedication and continuous learning, she progressed to an HR generalist role and now serves as a HR generalist and later moved to senior HR executive at EFL Logistics, leading initiatives in talent management, training, and organizational development. Chinadu is the author of the Rookie HR, a practical guide for aspiring HR professionals navigating the realities of the modern workplaces. She is also a storyteller, writer, and digital creator, building professional platforms and communities, including on-call corporate team, where she shares workplace insights, tips, and educational content for corporate professionals. She is a CIPM, Challenge of Personal Management Certified HR expert. Jinodu combines hands-on experience with strategic insight, helping professionals and organizations thrive. I'm excited, elated, delighted to bring to the virtual lecture Blessing Jinodu to speak to us on the topic, the rise of hustle culture, productivity, or burnout. Take it away, my sister.
All right, thank you so much, sir. Thank you for the opportunity once again, and I am glad to be here once again. Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Doctor just introduced me. My name is Janada Blessing. So today we'll be looking at the topic, the rise of hustle culture, productivity, or burnout. So I'd like this class to be very conversational, and I will want you all to participate because whether we like it or not, this is a topic that affects a whole lot of people, and I am sure a lot of people have things to say. So I want us to ask questions. I want us to participate. I don't want to do this alone. So thank you. So going to our webinar objective, one is we want to understand what the hustle culture is and what is its impact. Yes, every one of us here today knows what is called hustle. But what is the hustle culture and how does it relate to the workplace? Yes, we want to know that. And we also want to define what is real and fake productivity. We want to recognize, we will be looking at recognizing burnout signals early, understanding organizational versus individual causes, learn sustainable performance strategy, and know what HRs and leaders should change. So thank you. So the first question I want to ask us today is that one, what's best describe your current work pattern? So please, I would like us to comment or just signify in the chat box. One, I feel energized most days. Is that how you feel? I am constantly busy. I am frequently exhausted. I feel emotionally drained from work. So which of these describe your current work pattern at the moment? So I'd like us to go to the chat box and tell us what it feels like at the moment. Also, I want to ask a question as well. Aside from this, I also like to ask a question. So, how do you feel when you leave work every day? So, do you feel guilty when okay, let me rephrase this. So, when you close from work early, let's say your closing time is 4:30 or 5 o'clock. So, when you leave the office 5 o'clock, how do you feel? Do you feel happy? Do you feel excited? Do you feel normal? Or do you feel guilty? That is the first question. Then another question is, how is your weekend like? For a lot of us. On your weekend, do you just focus on yourself alone? You sleep, you do your house chores, and you just do your personal errands and your personal things? Or what is your weekend like? Or your weekend, are you still sending mails? Are you still attending to work-related issues? Is your boss calling you on weekends? So how is our weekends like? So all of these questions, even if we can answer, I want us to ruminate over these questions. But I would like to look at some of the things from the chat box. Okay. Doctor said I am constantly busy. Wow, I feel burnout. I am frequently exhausted of late. Look at all of this. So that means every one of us here today needs this topic. This topic is very, very important to us. Okay. All right. Just a minute. Okay, so let's look at what also culture is. What is also culture? Also culture. So yes, also culture looks like we've all heard about also and we know what culture is, but what does it mean? Does it feel like? So also culture is the glorification of work long hours, constant productivity, and sacrificing for personal life for professional success, often leading to burnout. It promotes a rise and grind mentality where being overworked is seen as a badge of honor, common in modern, fast-paced environments and high-pressured environments. Okay, on a lighter note, let me just say something. I always say this to my HR friends, right? That whenever you go for an interview and they start saying, we are a fast-paced environment, we are a high-pressured environment, just know that you are in for a long ride. Okay, let's leave that aside. Yes, so we are talking about Ozu culture. So in the modern day, right now where we are, a lot of people feel like when they work long hours or when they are constantly productive or when they are working around the clock. So that is what is called Ozu culture. When you sacrifice your personal life or professional success, when you just work all through. They can also, those people are often known as workaholic, or you can also call this workaholism. But this is even more deep than workaholism, but this is what's called also culture. When you are constantly working around the clock, you are constantly productive. And some of us, even when we close on time, when we leave the office on time, we feel guilty. So some of us cannot even sleep peacefully. In our dreams, we are thinking about work. Please, has that ever happened to you before? Because I've experienced that before. There are tasks that I didn't complete, and in my dreams, I was completing those tasks in my dream. So that is what is called also culture. And the thing is that a lot of us feel like this thing is normal. We feel like it is the right thing. It is okay. Well, I wouldn't decide that for now. So at the end of this thing, or maybe in the middle of the webinar, you can tell me if this is actually right, or this is a normal lifestyle, or if it's not. So let's just continue. Right? Mhm. So signs of also culture. One, feeling guilty during downtime. So these are the signs of also culture. So if any of this speaks to you, know that okay, you are presently engaging in also culture. One, feeling anxious or underproductive when you are not working, even during scheduled break or vacation. Some of us cannot even stand still. Even when we're on breaks, when we're on vacation, we cannot even we are feeling unproductive during those times. Yes, I have people that are close to me that feel like that. So that is one sign of also culture. So let me also ask a random question here. When last did you observe break? If you know you work 9 to 5 here, I'd like you to put in the comment section. So some of us, our break time is 11 to 12, 12 to 1. When last did you go for break? Because there are organizations that it's allowed for you to observe your break on your desk or eat your lunch on your desk. Some of us are eating, you are taking one spoon, you are typing email. You are taking one spoon, you are typing best regards. You are taking another spoon, you are typing dear HR, Abi dear Shola, dear Tola. When last did you guys go on break? So you can also put that in the comment section. Then another sign of also culture is stress bragging, treating exhaustion, lack of sleep, or a packed schedule as a badge of honor or a status symbol. So what? Okay, some of us, you think that is a sign of yes, I am working. And we'll still look at the causes of all of this. You think when you are exhausted, when you have a high bag, when your schedule is packed, like that is, yes, you will get an employee or a best employee of the year award. That is like a sign that yes, you're working, you're doing your best. Then another one is blurred boundaries, answering emails, attending meetings, or performing tasks late at night or weekend or during off time. Some of us will go on leave, but that is not, that is you working from home. It's not, we cannot even term those leave as leave because you're probably you're working from home, you are sending mails, you are doing everything you will do on a normal day that you're in the office. So what is the point of you going on leave? Why don't you just stay in the office and just continue to work? So that is another sign. Then productivity based self-worth, tying your identity and your value as a person solely to your professional output or achievement. Some of us, we believe we've not done anything this year because we base everything on our professional achievements. Yes, it's good to be career driven, but a lot of us just put so much effort. We believe that if there's no output, if there's no promotion, if there is no maybe salary increase, if there is no professional milestone that you have achieved or career milestone that you have achieved, you feel worthless. You feel as if you've not done anything. Some of us are like that. So that is also another sign of also culture. Then ignoring physical cues like chronic fatigue, headaches. Some of us are sick. You will be sick like this. You drag yourself to work. Some of us will be sick, will be treating malaria, you'll be typing and you'll be swallowing your malaria drugs. That is also another sign. That is also another sign of also culture. Then struggling to switch off. Your mind constantly raised with tasks, projects, even when you're physically away from your desk. Just like I said, there are times I've also experienced it before when I'm sleeping and in that my sleep, it wasn't really a good sleep. I was working even in my sleep. In my sleep, all I could think about was work. So that is also another sign of also culture. So how many of us are guilty of all of these things? If you know you are guilty, just respond to me with an emoji. If you know you are guilty of everything, or at least three or four things that I just mentioned right now, just I can see the emojis. Well done, guys. So so I believe all of us understand what we mean by also culture now. All right. So where also culture comes from? So also culture did not just start today. Also culture started way back from the times of industrial revolution, where people are putting in the work, especially the black communities back then, where they had to work long hours, they had to work around the day. So that was where also culture started from. Some people could not even attribute also culture to any history because it has started way long that it wasn't named or it wasn't given any buzzword or a term, so we cannot even know, we don't even know where also culture actually originated from. And so it was also very prevalent during the tech era in something around 1990s, where the tech companies started rising at Silicon Valley, and all of them, because they are tech startup, they believe that you have to put in the work, you have to do all of these things so that the company can succeed or so that they can compete in the new market they are just entering into. So there was a time, I think Elon Musk or something. Yes, there was a time Elon Musk granted an interview and talked about 40 hours per week. That who really invented 40 hours per week. And when they asked him about the success, I think he also attributed the success to working longer hours. And so because of that, because these people are public figures, right? And when people look at them, they take them as role model. So because Elon Musk hinted that, oh, he works longer hours, when billionaires and people come out and say, if you want to be successful, you cannot sleep 8 hours a day, you have to sleep 2 hours, you have to sleep 3 hours. Because of all of these, people follow them and they feel like, oh, if I also want to be like Elon Musk, if I also want to be like this billionaire, I also have to sleep less. I have to work hard. I have to put in all of my best. I have to do this. I have to do that. So those were the places where hustle culture originated from. Also, social media, man. Social media, you see people that will post their success story. Nobody wants to post how it happened. People just posted their success story. Ah, I was resilient, I was hardworking, I did this, I did that. So because of that, people also, oh, okay, if this is how this my role model, or this person I look up to achieve his or her success, I can also do so by following suits. But one thing they don't understand is that yes, we cannot actually follow these people because the way they live their lifestyle and some of the cares that they have in place is different from some of the things that we have in place. So I am going to say a short story, especially from my previous place of work. So there was one time when Buhari wanted to commission the refinery. My previous company was working on the concrete road inside refinery. So we were given like a deadline to complete a certain road. So because of that, people had to work extra hours. People were working like 12 hours, like lot of hours just so that we can complete that tax at that time. Yes, we completed the tax within 2 weeks. A tax that was supposed to take 1 month. The company completed it in 2 weeks. And then people were burnt out. A lot of people were taking leave just to rest. And yes, they were granted. But the expatriate that were in charge of this project, they traveled out of the country and they took 3 months. So what I am saying is that the kind of rest and the kind of way those people will take care of themselves, an average site helper or an average laborer that also engage in that activity will not be able to take care of himself like that. That is that is where the difference is. So while we're looking at people and thinking that yes, these people are working like this, but they also have system in place to take care of themselves. Why you might not have those system in place to take care of yourself. So that is why you don't follow social media. So let me continue. So some of the other places that also culture comes from is economic pressure. People, the economy is bad. There is no money, and someone that eventually got a job, that person wants to put in all of his best. That person wants to prove himself so that he does not get sacked. And also, especially in companies like FMCG, maybe logistics, construction, where there are overtime, people want to earn more. So because they want to earn more, they want to work overtime. In fact, I remember when I was also in construction where we do a lot of overtime, there were some people that we had to call and ban them from working overtime. And thank God we did that at that point. If I had not noticed it, one person would have slumped at work. Because yes, the salary they were getting, maybe it was too small for them and they had responsibility, and they feel like the only way they could augment is to do overtime. So even when others are saying no, I cannot do overtime, they'll say, no, don't worry, I will do overtime. And they were doing overtime. By the time we discovered it, they were working excessive hours. And if it continued like that, one day they will just slump at work. Okay, so another thing is competitive job market. So just like I said, someone that has been looking for job for a long time, that person eventually gets a job and that person is eager to prove his or herself. No, they need to know that I am hardworking so that even if there are layoffs, I will not be affected. Even if they are looking to terminate anybody, they will not terminate me because no, I suffered before I got this job. So these are also places where also culture starts from. Then startup and corporate hero stories. I think I mentioned these corporate hero stories while talking about Elon Musk and some successful people that talk about how they put in the work to get to where they are. And also startup. Yes, there are companies that are just starting up. And yes, I understand how startup can be. For startup, sometimes Also, culture, it's very difficult to eradicate because that period is very critical for them and they want to just put in the work and compete or succeed in the new markets that they are in. Then social media success narrative, we already talked about this, especially on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn warriors. Hello, guys. On LinkedIn, when everybody is sharing success stories, when everyone is saying, this is what I did to achieve this is what I did to achieve this, and because of that, you just want to also follow suit. Maybe there's someone you follow on LinkedIn that you admire a lot, and that person posted on a Monday morning that while I was this was what I did, this was how I went about it, and you were inspired, and you say, oh, hey, this year I have to work 14 hours, 20 hours a day. So that is also where also culture comes from. Then poor performance metrics, then fear of being replaced. Right. So let's go to. So does also culture have any advantages? From everything I've been saying since, it might look like also culture is a bad thing. I don't know. Do you agree with me? Also, culture is not good. Also, culture is this. But let's even look at it from another view, right? Does also culture, is there anything that is suitable or palatable or interesting about also culture? Is there any way also culture is good? So let's look at it. Also culture is not entirely negative. In certain season and situation, intense effort and high drive can produce real gains. So my opinion, right, is that there are seasons where you actually have to do that work. But the problem is now taking it as a lifestyle, taking it as a policy in your workplaces, making it a way of life. It is not sustainable like that. But there are seasons. So let's say, for instance, okay, just like the example, the story I said that there was a time in my former place of work where we needed to finish a particular road within 2 weeks, and that was because the president was coming and he was going to pass through that road. So that road needed to be constructed and finished at that point. So there are those seasons where there are business demands or there are operational demands and things just needs to be cleared, but it should be a short frame of time. It should be maybe 2 weeks, 1 month. It shouldn't be more than that. So when we start taking also culture as a lifestyle, as a way of life, so that is where it is bad. That is where it is not good at all. So some of the advantages of also culture when time bound, just like I said, when it is time bound, when it is just for a short period of time. Number one, rapid skill development. Okay, let's say you want to learn a particular skill and you just have to go in all in that period to learn that particular skill. For a month, you're on a target, you are working late, you're reading late, you're taking everything just to learn that particular skill. Yes, that period, yes, you can say you can use also culture to achieve that short-term goal. Then early career momentum. So I always say this here: if you are in your early career stage, if you are new, if you are an aspiring professional, if you're 1 to 3 years in your career, that is not the time to relax. That short period of time, if you know what you're doing, you can gain a lot, you can learn a lot in that short period of time. So, but that is not also glorifying also culture. So that also has limits, right? It's not as if you are overdoing it. But that period, if you or say a professional that just transitioned into a new career path, for the first 6 months, for the first 3 months, you want to put in everything and deliver and gain knowledge and prove yourself within those short period of time. What just like I said, don't forget it is not for a long period, it is not sustainable. Then business and startup launch phase. If you're just starting a business, if you're just starting a startup, that period, that phase, you have to put in the work. It is not. Then crisis and deadline execution. There's when there are crises at work, there are things that can lead to business collapse and emergencies, and you just have to take care of that short period. Yes, it might be needed that you have to put in your best, work long hours, and just make sure that you are able to achieve that within that short period of time. Then strong ethics formation. If you are someone that has been very relaxed about your career and you're trying to set strong work ethics. Yes, you can just do that for a short period of time and build that habit before you go on in your career. All right. So before I continue, do we have any question? Let me check the chat box. Do we have any question? Any question before I continue? Any question before I go home? Someone said my office break time is from 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. and we all observe it. Wow, this is very, very nice. This is very, very, very nice. I just hope more companies, more organizations can do this. Yes, this is very nice. This is very nice. Okay, so let's continue. The the hidden cost of also culture. So what are the costs of also culture? One, reduce creativity. See, when you people that have experienced this can relate. There is a certain level that you work that you'll be so burnt out to that you will not be able to think. You have brain fudge. You will not be able to think. You will not be able to think well. I think I've been there, so I can relate. There is a level that you work to, like you'll be so stressed that your brain will be so overworked and you will not be able, you will not be creative. So this is what I tell leaders. So for leaders, for HR professionals that are here, that you guys are listening to me, sometimes we push also culture because we are getting results. We believe that if we don't push people to work like that, they will not deliver. But some of us leaders have actually not experienced the other side of hustle culture. I mean, real-time productivity. Some of us have not experienced it. We think if we push people, if we put pressure on people, if people work these long hours, we think they will be productive. And that is not true. That is not true. Because it is different from being productive, and then it gets to a time you just have brain fog. You will not be as productive as you used to be. Then the other one is decision fatigue. Constant work drains mental energy and makes you simply make even simple decision harder. You will not, so you are mentally stressed, and there are decisions you will not be able to make. Things that you do for decisions that are easy for you to make, how you will be able to think rationally. When you are stressed, when you're burnt out, you will not be able to make all of this decision. Then another one is fatigue reduces attention to detail. You will start making mistakes. There is a point you will get to that you will just start making mistakes. Yes, at the beginning of hustle culture, when you start working, doing this thing, it might seem as if you are being productive, but it's just for a period of time. Before you know it, you start making mistakes. It happens a lot. In fact, if we look around us very well, if you look at your previous workplace or your previous organization, you will notice that there have been people that have experienced this. There was a time they were highly productive, and all of a sudden, they started making mistakes. That is stress, that is burnout, that is fatigue. Then health strains, physical headaches, sleep issues, high blood pressure. I think we can do this. And I wish organizations can or companies can just randomly do blood pressure. Just check people's blood pressure around the office, especially places that are high pressured environments, especially organizations that are high pressured environments. I wish once in a while they can just do this and you will see what people are going through, mental strength. And I'm just saying this, especially for professional in Lagos. I was talking to someone recently and I said, I pray it does not get to a time in Lagos where professionals will start slumping. I just pray we don't get to that point because looking at Lagos alone, Lagos is highly stressed. It's an highly stressed environment. From the traffic, people leave their houses as early as 4:30, get back home as late as 10, 11, and at work again. All of these things pile together. You now in an environment or in a company that glorifies also culture. I just pray that it does not get to that point. It does not get to that point. If you're in Lagos and you've ever entered BRT with professionals going to work, come and see how they sleep. Come and see how people sleep in the BRT buses, especially in the You'll be surprised. But I just pray we don't get to that point. Right? Then talent turnover, top performance eventually gives you escape unsustainable work loads. It gets to a point you cannot even people will leave your organizations. But they will say that do you want to keep them? There are workloads that are not sustainable, and when they cannot take it anymore, they start planning their exit, and eventually they leave. Then staff stop volunteering for projects. That's quiet quitting. When people start to quiet quit, instead of them to volunteer for project, they will not volunteer because they know that even the small one they are doing, it's overwhelming already. So because of that, they will not volunteer or want to even go out of their way and do extra for the company. Right. So now we've talked about also culture, but there are other things we're going to talk about that are into and wine. Like they are together. That we cannot talk about also culture without talking about all of these things. Yes. So and one is sorry. Okay, one of them is productivity. So, what is productivity? Productivity is a measure of how efficient and effective an individual, team, or organization converts inputs such as time, energy, and resources into meaningful outputs or results. So, sometimes one thing with also culture is that we think people are productive. We think because of the long hours that people are being productive, but that is a lie. Because at the end of the day, somebody that's worked 4 or 6 hours. Okay, someone that works, let's say 7 to 8 hours, and another person that works 12 hours. If you look at them, you'll be surprised that the person that worked 8 hours was much more productive than the other person that worked 12 hours. And that is because it gets to a time that you're so tired, and things that you will have done for 2, 3 hours, you will still be on it for like 4, 6 hours. So that is what burnout and also culture, that is what they do to people. All right. So key elements, then we have efficiency, using resources wisely to maximize output. And what is that resources? People. We need to know how to use people wisely to be able to get our desired output. So it's not about overworking. No, it's not about that. I remember a friend of mine that used to work with a Chinese company called me one time and she was lamenting. So they were working Monday to Sunday, 7:30 to 5:30. Monday to Sunday, 7:30 to 5:30. That is not sustainable. There is no way that is sustainable because you think people will just be coming to work really, but at the end of the day, they will not be productive. You will not get the desired output from them. Yes, they will just be coming, they'll just come there to come and sit on your AC and because tasks and things that they're supposed to do for 4 hours, they end up doing it for 6, 7 hours, and it is not their fault. Even if you keep shouting at them or tell whoever you do, it does not really change anything. Then effectiveness, delivering results that matter and align with priorities. Yes, that is what productivity is. Because you can be working and not deliver the kind of results that is required. And burnout or also culture will not allow you to deliver the right results if you don't take care of your health or if you are so burnt out. Then sustainability, maintaining energy, focus, and health to ensure long-term products performance. So just like I said, also culture is just good at the beginning. Maybe for the first one, you can manage it. For the first 2, 3 months, you can manage it. But after that, it's not sustainable. There will be like a decline. If there is a graph, how is this graph? So there'll just be like a very big decline. Somebody can be working well and be highly productive, and all of a sudden it just come down. It just jacks down. It is not sustainable. Also, culture, it is not sustainable. Please, any question before I go on? Are we enjoying the section? So can we just react with an emoji? Let me know that I am doing a good job. All right, thank you, thank you. All right, so thank you. Performative productivity versus real productivity, just like I said. performative productivity versus real productivity. So performative productivity focuses on being seen rather than delivering impact. So when people work in an environment that glorifies also culture. So in order to protect themselves, this is what they do. They start forming busy when they are not busy because they understand that maybe their leader, their boss, CEO or the MD or their line managers, they want to see them busy. They want to see them running around. So you just see people pretending to be busy. And in actual sense, they are not busy. Just like an organization or a company that wants people to work from Monday to Sunday, especially when you're not even in product, when you're not in operations, backup staff, admin, HR. What are you doing in the office Monday to Sunday? And even for those that work in their production unit or in their operations unit, I believe that those people also should be on shift so that they will be more productive. So because of that, people will just come and form busy. When in actual sense, there is little or nothing they are doing. They just form busy. Then real productivity focuses on impact, outcome, and measurable results. That is real productivity. So in this kind of workplaces that glorifies also culture, people will rather perform eye service. Yes. Eye service is the other of the day. I cannot come and kill myself. So it's like, oh, this organ cannot kill me. This workplace cannot kill me for my family. So because of that, they just start pretending, and at the end of the day, the company would think, okay, because we are pushing people to work long hours, we are getting results, we are being productive. When in actual sense, doesn't work like that. And I actually wish leaders and managers can understand this, that this does not lead to productivity at all. Then to over report minor progress to look busy. That is the life service. So because you want to sound busy, because you want to look busy, just so that because of the environment you are in, because of that, people will start forming busy. They'll come and report minor progress, just to look like they're busy. Then copies everyone on email to appear involved. High service. People just want to do things to show that, to feel safe, so that they don't say they are not working. Then attend unnecessary meetings with no clear direction or anything. Then work long hours instead of smart hours. We need to prioritize this. I always say this is 2026. It is time we start prioritizing smart hours instead of long hours. Because see, this is 2026, and a lot of organizations, a lot of leaders, a lot of HR professionals still believe that flexible work hour is not realistic, or flexible work hour is not possible. They believe that people cannot grow in their career if they work remotely, or if there is hybrid work. If people are not needed in the office every day, I think we should prioritize flexible hour. This is sustainable, seriously. Then output is low relative to efforts. People are just coming to work Monday to Sunday, and at the end of the day, the result is minimal, the result is small, the result is low because they are tired. What do you want them to do? They are tired, they are exhausted. So there is nothing they can, and there is nothing you can do, or there's nothing you can do about it. And most organizations, their places are very toxic, and what they start doing is that they start laying people off, they start sacking people over minor errors and minor mistakes, and they don't know that they're actually the cause of these mistakes and errors. And at the end of the day, they bring in new people. After 3, 4 months, the cycles continues, and it is not sustainable for business. I think it's high time business owners understand this, the better. Okay, then real productivity. So real productivity produces high valued output sustainably. But because if you are really, really productive, if it's 4 hours, if it's 6 hours, if it's 8 hours, people are putting into their work, you will see the results. When they are not tired, when they are not burnt out, 8 hours of, in fact, 4 hours of deep focus work. We will beat 12 hours of work when you're tired or you're exhausted. Then delegate low value tasks to maximize efficiency. So that is real productivity. Then measure success by outcomes, not hours. Yes, then use focus blocks on deep work to maintain concentration. Yes, and I think it's high time we do this. And also we can also adopt this in our day to day. There are times when you just have to be focused. You have to leave every distraction. Sure, you see your phone, put it on flight mode and just focus, because some of us actually think we work. If you go to most organization, people spend should be 8 hours, right? People spend 3 hours on TikTok. They spend another 2 hours on LinkedIn, just scrolling LinkedIn. Then they spend another 1 hour to just do one or two things. Then they spend the remaining hours on Instagram and they are closed for the day. Whereby you can just focus, and in 4 hours you can complete and tick all of your to-do list for the day. So you can adopt this. This actually works for me. Then let's look at burnout. Burnout. So burnout is a work-related physiology and physical condition that results from prolonged unmanaged workplace stress. It occurs when job demand constantly exceeds a person's capacity, energy, and recovery time. This is not caused by one bad week. It develops through chronic overload without adequate support or recovery. Let me ask a question if I got to. When you come back from leave, let's say you go on leave, go on a 2 weeks, let's say just 2 weeks leave. Not the kind of leave that you go and you still answer work, and you still work from there, or you are still out of your 24 hours, you're still spending like 6, 7, 8 hours on work. Not that kind of leave. Now you go on leave or you go on a short vacation, you are well rested and you come back. How productive? Have you ever? I know a lot of us, we all should have experienced this. We feel relaxed. That week, at least for the first 1 month, you are highly productive. Everything is just going bam, 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 bam. You're focused, you're able to concentrate. So that is the power of rest. Then burnt out, it gets to a time when you are so burnt out that everything will just be taking time. It is not you. And you'll be like, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? And also, yes, there's something I also like to address. A lot of us now we manage these things in a very bad way. We adopt lifestyles that are not good to manage stress, to manage burnout, to manage all of this. So some of us start taking energy drink. Okay, so I have been there. Let me use myself as an example. So there was a time in my career that I was very, very busy. I know that it's going to be very, 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 my day starts very, very busy and ends very, very busy. So at some point, so to be able to not get tired easily, I started taking energy drink. What's the mistake? So in the morning, the first thing, take energy drink, start my day. Yes, I was productive. Oh, I was productive for maybe 1 week or something. Then I couldn't sleep anymore. My heart was just racing. Before I knew it, at my young age, I started having high blood pressure. My blood pressure was very, very high. Before I discovered that I adopted a an unhealthy lifestyle. I've adopted an unhealthy lifestyle to manage to cope with my situation. So please, if you are doing that at the moment, you need to stop. And I am not even joking. You have to stop it. If you whatsoever lifestyle you know you have adopted that it is not healthy, things you're not doing before that you are now doing now because of work stress, to cope or to manage with work stress. I don't even want to mention because there are lists of them. There are lots of them. Some people start smoking. There are a lot of things that people don't do before, but because of work stress and because of hustle culture, we adopt these lifestyles, and in return, they damage our health. So please, we need to, after this section, please make sure you stop it and look for an healthy way to cope with your work stress and to manage burnout. Okay, so the key dimensions of burnout. Number one is emotional exhaustion, constantly drained, low emotional energy, and work feels heavy. So that is one sign of there's this emotional exhaustion when you are just constantly drained. You would think, see, burnout gets to a time that it's not just about sleeping, because you will go home, you think, oh, I'm tired, I just need to sleep. And you get home, you will sleep, you will wake up the next day, and you will still be tired. A lot of us felt like that in December. because I was on social media and I was seeing a whole lot of things. People will you will sleep, you will wake up, you will eat good food, and you'll still be tired. So that is why they said that burnout is not just about one bad week. It's more than that. It's an accumulation of stress over time, chronic overload that leads to burnout. So another one is mental detachment, emotionally disconnected, more negative, less personally invested. You are detached. Somebody is saying something to you and you cannot even hear the person. Hey, sorry, what do you say? Can you please repeat yourself? That's another sign of burnout. Mentally, you are detached. In meetings, you are not there anymore. You're just there, but you're not there. Then reduce efficiency, low confidence, reduce productivity, and tasks that you're supposed to complete in 1 hour, you start using 4 hours to complete those tasks. So, burnout warning signs. One, mental cognitive signs, brain fudge. Let's talk about this. Your brain is just, you cannot remember a thing. You are trying to remember something, you are trying to think, you cannot even remember. Everything is just blank. So that is one sign of burnout. And slow thinking appear. Concentration becomes difficult. You cannot even concentrate. Your mind is just all over the place. Then forgetfulness increases. So please, if you know that you're feeling this sign, it's time to take a break. Then simple decisions feels mentally draining. You start getting tired. You cannot even think. It's like your brain is not working at that point. I don't know if you have ever felt like that. That point is just as if you can't think. Then behavioral signs, withdraw from colleagues and teammates. See, some of your colleagues that are cranky and they are just angry unnecessarily. Some of them are burnt out. It's not their fault. Honestly, a lot of people are burnt out, and that is how they react to burnt out. They just start getting angry easily. Any little thing irritates them, increase irritability. They are not. Then another thing is withdraw from colleagues and teammates. They just withdraw, they seclude themselves because to even talk self is problem. They're just tired. They just want to be by themselves. Then increase procrastination or avoidance, more missed deadline, error rate increases. Emotional signs, irritability increases over small issues. Motivation and enthusiasm drop, emotional numbness towards work growth, sense of accomplishment reduces. So there are times when you think that it just feels as if they are depressed, but they're not depressed actually. They are feeling burnt out. They just need to take some time and they just need to rest. And this is increasing, especially between baby boomers and millennials, because my Gen Z people, a lot of them, they are actually rejected also culture. And that is one thing I love about Gen Zs. If you're a Gen Z, you're Charles, you guys, I love you so, so, so much because I believe Gen Zs are redefining workplace in a way that I actually like. Their cultures, and if they continue like this, a lot of cultures are going to change. So Gen Zs, they have in one way or the other, they've rejected this also culture because when they entered the workforce, they started talking about mental health. Before, people don't talk about mental health at work. It's they throw at you. When they shout at you, just go to your corner or you go to the toilet and go and cry and you come back. Because a generation came and they started speaking up and they started talking about mental health. Even though sometimes we look at them as they are lazy, they are spoiled. But at the same time, I think now this conversation of mental health is all over the place and people are becoming more aware. Yeah, people are becoming more aware of this, right? All right. So, any question before we continue? Any question before we continue? Any question before we continue? All right. So, our leadership contributes to burnout. Sometimes leaders are just the problem. Some of us managers, if you're a manager here, if you're a leader here, I hope this is being shared with one way or the other so that you can improve, so that you can change. So how leaders contribute to burnout, reward overwork. Sometimes we we reward overwork, not smart work or smart results. People that stayed late till 9 p.m., people that, why do we have to do this? People actually, some people don't actually have life outside of their job or their career because they are trying to prove themselves or because their work, the way their workplace is wired. So can we stop rewarding overwork and introduce smart work? As a manager, as a leader, I don't know if it's not life threatening. Can we reduce the way we call our subordinates on weekends or during their leave period to actually give them tasks or to assign them tasks? Because, see, sometimes the idea of work alone, there's something it does to your mental health, right? The idea of work, the idea of an email or somebody calling you, especially when you're on vacation, you just switch out of that vacation mode or you switch out of that holiday mode and just start thinking about work again. Then ignore capacity limits. Yes, there are times we assign, we overload people as you have an intern working with you and you are giving this intern a job that someone with 5 years that has 5 years of experience should do. So that is overload. Yes, while you are building that person capacity, but at the same time, are you thinking about what impact that will have on this your subordinate or this person? So this is how we all contribute to burnout. Then micromanage. Sometimes we micromanage. The fact that micromanagement is not even about the work. It's about mental torture. It's about psychological stress when it comes to and mental strain when we are talking about micromanagement. So micromanagement is deeper than that because you don't give somebody autonomy to do their work. You're following up on them, you're on their neck all the time. Yes, I understand sometimes micromanagement is maybe important for some that or for some set of people, but for people that actually get their job done, micromanagement is mental stress and mental structure or and mental torture of them, and that is not okay at all. Then set unrealistic deadlines. Sometimes we just set unrealistic deadlines for people because we believe that if we don't, and this is the reason why we do not all of these things. So we believe that if we don't set those deadlines, that they will so we believe that if we don't set that deadline, they will not meet up. But at least if you set a deadline of 100, maybe they will at least meet 50. And that 50 is the realistic one. Then we'll go ahead and set 100. But that's not okay. So please let's set realistic deadlines and let people do the job that they can do. Then don't model boundaries. Expect balance, but demonstrate more. So you cannot tell people to take care of themselves or take care of their mental health when you don't allow them to set boundaries. And you call people at night, you call them 1 a.m., you call them, you call people at ridiculous times and you want them to set boundaries. Somebody is on the leave for honeymoon and you are reaching out to the person for work. That is not nice, actually. If we are doing that, we need to tone it down. So I understand that a lot of workplaces are dynamic, right? And there are situations where that some people their work are so important that maybe the company cannot do without them. But this is why as HR, there are a lot of things we can do. We can plan succession planning, get someone to shadow those people so that they can learn what they are doing. So a whole company should not be a standstill because someone is going. That is not okay. That is not nice. The whole company should not be on standstill. God forbid, what if that person dies? What happened? Will the company shut down? No. So can we just set realistic targets and let other people shadow them? So that even when they are going on leave, there are other people that can do their job effectively. And you don't always have to keep calling them or messaging them or them working from home and saying it's leave. You understand? Okay. So HR responsibility. I believe that a lot of us on this call today, we are HR professionals. So, and this talks to us. So before I even start reading out my points and explaining it, so as HR professionals, I understand that. So because I am an HR, I understand the HR dilemma that there are times where there is little or nothing you can do, depending on the kind of environment, depending on the kind of structure or where you work. There is little or nothing you can do. But here is the thing. It is time we need to start prioritizing our people. Even though we cannot do much, you can just start with little. As small as asking people to go on. Let people use their PTO. Let them use their time off. See, you can go to your leave data and look at it. I'm sure, I don't know, maybe it differs from industries to industries, but there are usually some set of people that don't go on leave. They usually carry over their leave every year. So if you have those kind of people in your workforce, you can always call them and encourage them to use their leave. So you can start from this. So let them go on leave, let them use their leave. When they go to leave and come back, they'll feel refreshed. And whenever you also have a manager that refuses to approve his or her subordinates leave. So please let's also encourage these managers to approve their leave. Let people go on, let people go on leave if they can, if it will not disrupt the business or operation at that moment, and if it will, let's look for a way to go about it so that even if cannot go this time, they can still go some other time. So that is very, very important. So HR's responsibility in all of this: one, redesign workloads, ensure roles are realistic and balanced. So there are times where we have one person doing a whole lot of things. Somebody is doing HR, the person is doing admin, the person is doing a bit of finance, the person is doing a bit of facility management, the person is doing, and people are just overloaded. They are doing a whole lot. So because of this, they will be burnout. So that is also culture in disguise. We are doing too much. And at the end of the day, it's little opinion that we are paying them. So I think it's time we start redesigning workloads. Let's start working on our JD, our job audit. Let's do all of these things and make sure that people are doing what they are paid to do. People are not being overloaded. They are not doing the work of 3, 4, 5. Yeah, then train managers. This is very, very important. Leadership training, managers training. Because at the end of the day, most times a lot of people point fingers to HR. HR, in fact, as a matter of fact, HR, we are like the wishes and wizard of the workplaces. When anything is wrong, HR is at fault. But sometimes it's just managers and leaders. But as HR professional, we can call them out, right? But one thing we can also do is train them. So I know that a lot of us probably we have already worked on our training calendars for the year. Because if we can do 1 or 2 trainings for our managers this year or leadership this year, look at the pain points of the organization. What is that thing you've been talking or you have been talking to managers about and they have refused to change. So we can organize trainings around those things and just keep counseling them and talking to them and give them real life examples and data to back up all of these things and see maybe they will change. So we need to start training managers and leadership. Then fix performance metrics, measure outcome, not exhaustion. Let our appraisal system, let them be realistic. Let them be realistic. Let them be realistic so that we don't just keep pushing people into burnout and exhaustion. Then track burnout signals, monitor turnovers. So if there is a particular department where there are high turnovers, we need to investigate and see what is going on there. What can we do differently? And where there are errors, absenteeism, disengagements, there are times where the high performance they come into the company and they are doing very, very well. Or maybe last year they were doing very, very well. And all of a sudden, there are complaints around them and all of that. So it's time for us to look at it and see what is going on and how we can. So, because sometimes we're just very quick to issue query, to, issue suspension, place people on PIP. But sometimes you just have to have conversations with employees and staff and see what is the cause of their non-performance so that we can be able to offer solutions to it instead of just giving them queries or all of that. Then build remain policies, create flexible and support work structures. So it's our job to recommend, right? So management can either take it or knows, but it's also our job. So let's try to recommend flexible and supportive work structures. If there are I know there are industries that they can actually do remote or hybrid work. So, or if there are departments in the company that do not have to be present on site every day, we can recommend all of this to management and encourage them, give them data to back it up. And who knows, they might actually agree. Then normalize recovery time, encourage leave breaks and recess period. I mentioned this earlier. Let people go on their leave, let people use their PTO. And when they use it, let us stop bothering them when they are on leave. When people go on leave, let us leave them to rest. Let us leave them to enjoy their vacation. Let's just manage our workforce in such a way that the absence of one person does not automatically affect the whole business. So it's not even sustainable to build an industry, to build a business on that kind of structure. It's not, right? So I'm almost in the last slide. So, any question? If you think I'm doing a good job, please, I want to see your emoji. If you're still with me, if you're enjoying the section, let me see your emojis. Let me see your emojis. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, the first framework for sustainable productivity. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. So PACE for sustainable productivity. So one is prioritize high impact work. Focus first on tasks that drives real results. So when you come to work in the morning, or when you look at your to-do list, or when you look at your KPIs, just prioritize one that is an high impact work. Start with that. Start your day with that and finish it before you move to something else. So that is how to do sustainable productivity. That is how to achieve sustainable productivity. Then to automate repetitive tasks. So and another thing that leads to burnout and exhaustion is lack of technology. In a way, we look at it, it's just lack of technology because there are tasks that can easily be automated. You don't have to keep spending hours on it. So if there are technology and we're able to automate a lot of our jobs or a lot of our tasks, then it will reduce the time we spend on these tasks and it will reduce burnout and it will reduce this also culture of just imagine there is, let's say, someone that works in operation or in production where the person needs to type something in an Excel, maybe a manuscript, for example, and it's like loads like this, and that person has to do it every day. And that person spend like 20 hours on or maybe even 8 hours is not enough. That person needs to come early, close late, just to be able to finish populating that template. Because if we have a system where there is no even need for paper, maybe as production is happening or as anything is happening in operation, automatically these reports are being generated. This will, so it will reduce the workload, it will reduce the burnout drastically. Then C, communicate boundaries. Be clear about capacity, timeline, and capability. So this can be very dicey, right? Because just imagine you cannot communicate boundaries to your line manager in a certain way or your manager. It might be seen as disrespect, might be seen as insubordination. So the way you communicate boundaries also matters, right? So for example, if you don't want your manager to reach out to you, then there is a way you go about it respectfully so that you don't just, unless you still have that job, right? So that you don't create bad blood between you and your manager, or it does not seem like disrespect or subordination, or your manager starts saying like, you don't want to work, Abby, you don't want to do this, Abby, you've always been doing this like this. So look for a way to communicate it with them. Look at when they are not angry, just study their mood. Look at when it's a good time to communicate to them, and don't just say no, I'm not doing this. Look for a way, give them reasons why no, it cannot be done so that it does not lead to problem. Then evaluate workload often, review and adjust before burning happen. Review your work. Look at what you are doing. If you think that your workload is becoming unrealistic, you can always communicate with your line managers. You can always communicate and let them know that, Sam, I've been doing this, or ma, these are the things that I'm doing. I think maybe you can reduce it, or I think we can maybe give one to the intern that just joined, or just look for a way to understand your boss, understand your line manager, then understand the business you're so the environment you work in, so that it will help you to clearly set boundaries and communicate effectively, and just so that you can reduce burnout and you can also opt out of the also culture mentality. So that is also very, very important. So lastly, reflection. So what have you been glorifying, also or impacts? So, what is one practice you will change this month? So, I want us to. This is the end of the section, but we're still going to. I still have some questions that I need to ask us. So, what? But before then, let me ask this: what is one practice you will change this month? So, from everything we've said. Oh, hold on. So, before I ask that question, so this webinar topic is the impact, the rise of also culture, productivity or burnout. So let me ask now. So also culture, what do you think also culture is? Is also culture productivity or is it burnout? So if you are saying also culture is productivity, so I would like you to unmute and tell me why it is like that. But I want all of us to to talk here because I want all of us to engage in. So what do you think also culture is? Can you say also culture is productivity or can you say it's burnout? So guys, so what can you say also culture is? Can you say it's productivity or can you say it's burnout? I want you to, okay, Uncle K is raising up his hand. So can you please speak? Please unmute and speak, please, Uncle K. So I believe,
All right.
okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this topic. I think it actually resonates with me and I can reflect with almost everything you have said tonight. To me, I think this hustle thing is actually productivity at the beginning. You will feel like, yes, you have up your game. You will feel like, yes, you are more productive. It actually feels like productivity. But then I think if one is not careful and it persists, it will eventually turn to burnout because you will not have time to relax. You will not have time for yourself. You will not have time to unwind. You will not have time to reset. And, that is when you begin to flip to the other side, that it tends to burn out. And I think I'm speaking for myself. Initially, I felt like, okay, but then I can tell that this is pure burnout now, right? So that is my contribution.
All right, thank you, Uncle K. You're actually right. So, in the middle of the webinar, I said that also culture is just good for a short period of time, right? If it's getting longer, then it leads to burnout. And what is that productivity if it's not sustainable? So productivity for a short while and then burnout. And if you're not careful, mental stress, emotional burnout, health issues is actually worth it. It's not that worth it if you look at it. So that productivity, even at the beginning, is not sustainable. So but thank you so much for that contribution. Okay. So do we have anyone again that believes that has any contribution or if there's anything we want to add or any question, please. So please let us and I am not seeing enough in the chat box. I only have two people. Ajuma said, I think it's a bit of both and can be managed. Well, yes, it's a bit of both, but it's more open as. But if you have contrary opinion, you can let me know. So please, you can unmute and speak. But I want us to write the rise of hustle culture. Do we think it's productivity or burnout or both? So I only have two people, one person in the chat box. I want the rest of us um to comment. I want to hear your opinion. If you're not saying anything, so that means I've done a bad job. Because I've done a bad job. If you think I've done a good job, so you have to say something.
You've actually done a very thorough job. And, well, sometimes when you do very thorough job, you leave no room for questioning. It's like a very well delivered paper.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. I don't think doctor is here. He had to reach out to him. So I don't know if anyone can help me reach out to doctor so that we can end this section.
Doctor is
Someone
here,
said true.
actually.
Okay, doctor is there. Okay. Okay, so I believe it's both. Well done, very good job. Just that I am experiencing a burnout. So I'm so sorry, Ibrahim. Wishing you a speedy recovery. I just hope you can take some time off and maybe yes, it's February, but who cares? Just take your leave and go and rest. Take care of yourself. Even if it's 2, 3 days, just shut everything off and just have a good rest. Sorry. Then you have done a great job. It's more of burnout than productivity. Thank you. Since well delivered paper, professionally crafted. Thank you. So culture can be used when there is deadline job to meet. Yes, urgency. Yes, that is correct. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, well done. It's been quite this insightful section. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. With this, we've come to the end of the section. So I hope we have been able to gain one or two things from this section. So let me know what you're taking away from this section. Let us all know that also culture is more organized than productivity. And it's very, very important as professionals that we take care of ourselves, we take care of our health. Let's look for healthy ways to manage all of this workload and work stress. Because what is the point of earning this money when at the end of the day we start using the money to buy drugs or we start using this money to nurture one sickness or the other? That is not a good thing. And I pray it cannot happen to us. So thank you so much. Thank you everyone for your time. So see you again next time. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, Doctor said we can call it a wrap. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I think at this point we can all unmute ourselves and show our appreciations to our
Thank
facilitator
you so
tonight.
much,
you.
ma. You did a great
Thank
job.
Thank
you.
you
Thank
very much. Thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you.
It was a
Thank you, ma.
beautiful
Well
session.
done.
Thank you. Well done.
That was a great one. Thank you all.
Yeah.